David had never been good at making friends. Moving to a new town halfway through senior year should have been a disaster. Another round of awkward lunches, empty seats beside him in class, the familiar weight of being the kid no one noticed. But here, something shifted. Ken found him on the second day. "You like Rush?" Ken was pointing at David's worn t-shirt, the one with the Starman logo faded nearly to nothing. Yeah, I do." Ken grinned. "Dude. Finally. No one here listens to real music." That was it. The beginning of something David had never really had, a friend. They traded albums, stayed up late playing video games, talked about nothing and everything. For the first time in 18 years, David felt like he belonged somewhere. But where there was Ken, there were also the others. The bullies found David during third period, in the hallway between classes. One of them, a broad-shouldered kid named Vince, shouldered into him hard enough to send his books flying. "Watch it, freak." David knelt to gather his things, face burning. He heard them laughing as they walked away. It became a pattern. Shoves in the hallway. Mocking comments about his clothes, his hair, his silence. Ken tried to intervene once and got shoved too. "Just ignore them," Ken said afterward. "They're assholes. They'll get bored." David wanted to believe that. He didn't. The lake was behind his house, a 10-minute walk through woods that smelled of pine and damp earth. David discovered it his first weekend in town, a wide, dark expanse of water surrounded by trees, quiet and still. No one else ever seemed to come here. He started going after school, fishing rod in hand, just to escape. The fish rarely bit. He didn't care. One afternoon, he cast his line and watched the ripples spread, his mind empty for the first time all day. The sun was warm. The water lapped gently at the shore. For a moment, everything was almost okay. Then she came out of the lake. David froze. The fishing rod slipped from his fingers. She emerged from the water like something from a dream, brown hair plastered to her shoulders, water streaming down a body clad in a simple black bikini. She was older than him, maybe 24, 25. And she was having trouble standing. Her legs shook as she tried to find her balance. Her knees turned inward, the unmistakable stance of cerebral palsy. She reached for something on the shore, a metal cane, lying in the grass, and used it to steady herself. She looked up and saw him staring. "Oh." Her voice was soft, surprised. "I didn't think anyone came here." David's voice cracked. "I'm sorry. I was fishing. I didn't mean to. I can leave." She smiled. It was a sad smile, but genuine. "You don't have to leave. It's a free lake." She took a step toward him, her cane sinking into the soft ground. "I'm Clara." "David. David." She tested his name like it was something fragile. "Do you come here often?" He nodded, not trusting his voice. "Me too." She looked out at the water. "It's the only place I feel. I don't know. Whole." They talked for an hour. About nothing. About everything. She asked about school, about his family, about the fishing rod he'd dropped. He asked about the lake, about her life, about why she came here alone. "I've always lived near water," she said. "It's easier. In the water, I'm not." She gestured at her body, at the legs that wouldn't quite work, at the cane she leaned on. "I'm not different." David didn't know what to say to that. He didn't have to say anything. Before she left, she did something that stopped his heart. She leaned down slowly, carefully, using the cane for balance, and kissed his forehead. Her lips were warm and soft and lingered for just a moment. "Thank you," she whispered. "For talking to me." She walked back into the trees, her gait uneven, her cane marking the ground with each step. David sat on the shore for an hour after she left, touching the spot on his forehead where her lips had been. It was the first kiss he'd ever received that wasn't from his mother. Dash. The bullies caught him 3 days later. David was walking home, taking the long way past the lake, when Vince and his friends appeared from behind a row of bushes. There were 3 of them, their faces twisted with the particular cruelty of teenage boys with nothing better to do. "Hey, freak! Where you going?" David kept walking. Didn't answer. Vince grabbed his shoulder, spun him around. "I'm talking to you. Leave me alone." "Make me." They pushed him. Shoved him. He stumbled, fell, tasted dirt. They were laughing, circling, and David curled up, waiting for it to get worse. "Hey!" The voice came from the lake. Clara stood at the water's edge, still in her bikini, her metal cane glinting in the sun. She looked at the boys with an expression David had never seen on her face, cold, steady, utterly unafraid. "You should leave him alone." Vince stared at her. They all did. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Vince's face went pale. He took a step back. Then another. "Let's go," he muttered to his friends. They ran. Clara watched them go, then turned to David. She held out her hand. "Are you okay?" He took it. "Let her pull him up. They're scared of you." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "They're probably scared because I'm older. Grown-ups are terrifying to teenagers." It was a joke, but something in her voice was off. David didn't ask. She hugged him, then held him close, her body trembling against his. Then she kissed him. Not on the forehead this time. Long, deep. Real. When they broke apart, she was crying. "Thank you," she whispered. "For being kind." Dash. They met at the lake every day after that. David would come straight from school, and Clara would be waiting, sometimes in the water, sometimes on the shore, always with that sad smile that made his heart ache. They talked for hours. About music, about books, about the lives they wished they had. He wanted to take her somewhere. A cafe, a movie, anywhere but the lake. She always refused. "I can't," she said. "I have to stay here." "Why?" She never answered. Dash. Ken found them on a Thursday. David hadn't told Ken about Clara. He didn't know why, just that some things felt too precious to share. So when Ken appeared on the path behind them, calling out, "Hey, lovebirds," with a grin, David's stomach dropped. Ken stopped walking. His face went pale, paler than Vince's had been, paler than anything David had ever seen. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound came out. Then he fell. Not fainted, not collapsed, just fell, his legs giving way, his body crumpling to the ground. He stared at Clara with eyes full of something David couldn't name. Clara rose. Slowly, using her cane, her body shaking with more than just the effort of standing. She walked toward Ken, past him toward the lake. "Clara." David's voice was small. "What's happening?" She didn't answer. She walked into the water, the waves parting around her, until she was waist deep, then chest deep, then gone. Ken scrambled to his feet and ran. Not away from the lake, toward it. He plunged into the water after her. David sat on the shore, alone, understanding nothing. Minutes passed. 5. 10. 15. Then Clara emerged from the trees behind him, not from the water. She was dressed now, in jeans and a sweater, her cane in her hand. She sat beside him, took his hand. "I'm sorry," she said. "I should have told you." "Told me what?" She looked at the water. "Come with me. Into the lake. I'll explain everything." He followed her to the edge, then into the water. It was cold, then warmer, then not cold at all. They waded deeper, until only their heads were above the surface. "In the water," she said, I'm not different. I'm not broken. I'm just me. She began to undress, her sweater floating away, her jeans sinking. David did the same, his clothes drifting on the current. She came to him, wrapped her arms around his neck, and kissed him. They came together in the water, weightless and warm, her body moving against his with a grace she never had on land. It was slow and gentle and perfect. Afterward, they floated, holding each other. "I love you," David whispered. She didn't answer. Just held him tighter. Ken wasn't in school the next day. Or the day after. Or the day after that. His parents called, said he was sick. David didn't believe it. Vince found him at lunch on Friday. "Sit down," Vince said. It wasn't a threat. His voice was strange, quiet, almost gentle. David sat. "You want to know why we ran? Why we're scared of your lake girl?" David nodded. Vince took a long breath. "She's local. Grew up here. We used to make fun of her the way she walked, the cane, all of it. Kids are assholes. I know that now." He looked away. But Ken was worse. David's blood went cold. He pretended to date her. For a joke. Acted like he liked her, took her out, kissed her all while we watched from the bushes. And then one day, on the beach, we all came out. Ken laughed. Said it was a prank. Said she was pathetic for believing anyone could want her. Vince's voice cracked. She attacked him. Just went crazy, hit him, scratched him. And he pushed her. Just once. But she fell, and her head hit a rock, and... He stopped. David couldn't breathe. The police said it was an accident. She tripped. That's what they wrote. But we knew. We knew. David stood up. His legs were shaking. She didn't die. Vince looked at him. What? She didn't die. She's right there. At the lake. I've been with her for weeks. Vince's face went pale. That's not possible. I went to her funeral. I saw her grave. David ran. He found Clara on the shore, waiting for him. You know, she said. It wasn't a question. Ken, David said. He's gone. Did you? I didn't kill him. Her voice was flat. I just showed him what he did. What he took from me. David sat beside her. You died. Vince saw your grave. Clara was quiet for a long moment. Then. I didn't die. I went into a coma. My parents, they told everyone I died. They moved me to another town to recover, to keep me safe from the boys who'd hurt me. But when I woke up, she looked at the water. I couldn't stay away. I came back. And I waited. For revenge. For him. She looked at David. For Ken to come back. So he could see what he'd done. So he could understand. And now. She took his hand. Now I have you. They sat together, watching the water, until the sun went down. Ken's body was found in the lake 3 days later. The police ruled it an accidental drowning. David went to the funeral. Stood in the back. Said nothing. That evening, he walked to the lake. Clara was waiting, as she always was. Are you okay? She asked. He thought about it. Thought about Ken, about the bullies, about everything that had happened. No, he said. But I will be. She smiled a real smile, not the sad one. Me too. They walked into the water together.